Welcome to our classroom of English literature. This is for class 10, Merchant of Venice, act 3, scene 4. The scene takes place in Portia's room in Belmont. Enter Nerissa, enter Portia, enter Nerissa, enter Lorenzo, Jessica and Balthazar. You need not know right now who is Balthazar. As we do the scene, I'll tell you who Balthazar is. So Lorenzo speaks. Lorenzo says, Madam is Portia. Although I speak it in your presence, you have a noble and true conceit of godlike amity, which appears most strongly in bearing thus the absence of your lord. So Lorenzo tells Portia, though I am praising you in your presence, I don't mean to flatter you, that's what he says. You have almost a divine nature, because you let your husband, Bassanio, go away just on the day of your wedding to save his friend Antonio. No other lady would have perhaps done that. But if you knew to whom you show this honor, how true a gentleman you send relief, how dear a lover of your lord, of my lord your husband, I know you would be prouder of the work than customary bounty can enforce you. In other words, had you known to whom you are sending this relief, for whom you are making this sacrifice of sending your husband away on the day of your wedding, had you known how good Antonio is, how much he loves your husband, then perhaps you would have been much prouder of your deed than a usual kindness would have done. Look at the word, look at the phrase customary bounty, meaning usual kindness. This is what Portia says. Portia says, I never did repent for doing good, nor shall I not now. Remember, often we are impulsive when we make sacrifices. We are ready to give away our treasured things, but later on we regret. Portia says, I'm not going to regret. In other words, this sort of kindness is like my second nature. Then she says, for in companions that do converse and waste the time together, whose souls do bear an equal yoke of love, there must needs be a like proportion of lineaments, of manners, and of spirit, which makes me think that this Antonio, being the bosom lover of my lord, must needs be like my lord. So what she says is that I believe that people who spend their time together, who are attached with the yoke of love. What is yoke? Yoke is that thing with which two oxen are attached together when they pull the plow. Okay, so two friends who spend their time together are attached with a yoke of love, and they share some common characteristics. If that is the case, then Antonio and Bassanio, who are best friends, must be similar. I read from the text. Okay. If it be so, how little is the cost I have bestowed in purchasing the semblance of my soul from out of the state of hellish cruelty. So what happens? Since friends are similar because they are attached with love, people who are married, husband and wife, since they love each other, they too must be similar. Even mathematically, if Antonio is like Bassanio, because they are friends, and Bassanio is like Portia, because they are man and wife, then what happens? Antonio is quite like Portia. So Portia says, I don't mind the person whom I have saved is somebody quite like me, is the semblance of my soul, is somebody who is a reflection of myself. And who is the reflection of herself? Antonio. And then she says, I have saved this person from a state of hellish cruelty. What is hellish cruelty? Shylock is going to cut a pound of flesh from Antonio's body, which is nothing worse than hellish cruelty. I have saved Antonio from that. Now, this comes too near the praising of myself. I'm reading from the text. Therefore, no more of it. If I say I'm like Antonio, I am praising myself that I don't want to do. Here are the things. This is important. This is something else I want to tell you, Lorenzo. And then she says, Lorenzo, I commit unto your hands the husbandry and manage of my house. I am handing over to you the management of my house until my Lord's return, until Bassanio comes. For mine own part, I have towards heaven breathed a secret vow to live in prayer and contemplation, only attended by Nerissa here, until her husband and my Lord return. So I have taken a secret promise to heaven. And what is that promise? I have promised that I will go and stay in a monastery only with Nerissa. Yes, and there I will do some prayers until my husband and Graciano return from Venice. Okay, then she goes on to say, there is a monastery 2 miles off, and there we will abide. There's a monastery 2 miles away. Nerissa and I will stay there. I do desire you not to deny this imposition, the which my love and some necessity now lays upon you. Lorenzo, I request you don't say no to me. Because I love you, I am requesting you to look after my house until we return. That means until I and Bassanio return. Bassanio and I return. Now, Lorenzo, of course, accepts it very willingly. Lorenzo says, Madam, with all my heart, I shall obey you in all fair commands. That you understand. Portia says, my people do already know my mind and will acknowledge you and Jessica in place of Lord Bassanio and myself. And so, farewell till we shall meet again. So Portia once again tells Lorenzo that I have already told my servants about my wish that I will be away from home and Jessica and Lorenzo will stay in my house like the master and mistress, and they will accept you in that position. Fine. After that, Lorenzo wishes Portia, says, fair thoughts and happy hours attend on you. May you have good thoughts, may you have happy time like you tell your friends when they are going somewhere. Jessica says, I wish your ladyship all heart's content. I wish that your ladyship, that is Portia, all your heart's desires are fulfilled. And Portia wishes the same thing back. She says, I thank you for your wish and I am well pleased to wish it back on you. Fare you well, Jessica. And you can see here, Jessica and Portia have finally become friends. After that, exeunt Jessica and Lorenzo. Now, after that, there's a sudden change in the scene and Portia speaks to Balthazar. Now let me tell you, Balthazar is a servant of Portia, a very trusted servant. Why I didn't tell you earlier is because Balthazar was silent all that time. Now listen, Portia says, now Balthazar, as I have ever found thee honest true, so let me find thee still. Balthazar, you've always been faithful, you've always been honest, please be so today. Then this is important. She says, take this same letter and use thou all the endeavour of a man in speed to Padua. See thou render this into my cousin's hand, Dr. Valerio, and look what notes and garments he doth give thee. Bring them, I pray thee, with imagined speed unto the traject, to the common ferry which trades to Venice. Waste no time in words, but get thee gone. I shall be there before thee. Now this is what she says. Please note this. This is important. Certain names especially. She tells Balthazar to take a letter. Gives him a letter. Tells him, go to a place called Padua. And in Padua, you will meet my cousin, Dr. Valerio. Now, Dr. Valerio is a renowned lawyer. Yes. So Portia tells, give this letter to my cousin, Dr. Valerio. And after that, Dr. Valerio will give you some notes. Yes, he's a lawyer. He'll give you some notes. He'll give you some clothes. Take that and come back to the, come to the traject. Don't come home. Come to the traject. What's a traject? A traject is like a station from where you board the ships. It's like a harbor or a port or whatever. Yes. So Portia says, bring those notes and those garments and come to the traject. Nerissa and I will be waiting there. Now go quickly, don't waste time. After that Balthazar speaks. Balthazar says, Madam, I go with all convenient speed, and he goes out. Exit. Then Portia speaks to Nerissa. Portia says, come on Nerissa, I have work in hand that you yet know not of. We'll see our husbands before they think of us. In other words, come Nerissa, I have some plan which you don't know. We will soon meet our husband. Nerissa says, shall they see us? Portia says, they shall, Nerissa, but in such a habit. Now the word habit has two meanings. A, clothes as always, and B, manners. So there's a pun on the word habit. So they shall see us in such a habit that they shall think we are accomplished with what we lack. In other words, they will see us in the dress of men. They will see us in the behavior of men. Now what doesn't Portia have? Portia doesn't have masculinity. Portia is not a man. No matter how good she is, she's not a man. Then she says, I'll hold thee any wager. Wager is a bet. When we are both courted like young men, when we are both dressed like young men, I'll prove the prettier fellow of the two. In other words, when we are both dressed up as men, I, Portia, will look much better than you, Nerissa, and wear my dagger with the braver grace. Remember those days, men carried a dagger. Yes, so I will carry my dagger in a very fine, brave manner, and speak between the change of man and boy with a reed voice. In other words, I'll speak in the voice of an adolescent between manhood and boyhood, and turn two mincing steps into a manly stride. I'll not walk daintily like a lady, but I'll walk like a man. Yes, and speak of phrase like a fine bragging youth, and tell quaint lies, how honorable ladies sought my love, which I denying, they fell sick and died. I could not do withal. Then I'll repent, and wish for all that I had not killed them, and 20 of these puny lies I'll tell. That men shall swear I have discontinued school above a 12 months. Now that's quite long. So this is what Portia says. Portia says, I will also tell many boastful lies. Remember, young men those days told a lot of boastful lies. You have the example of Morocco, who came to Portia and said that I killed the Sophie, I snatched a bear cub, I did this, I did that. He says, I'll do the same thing. I'll talk about fights, and I'll talk about how beautiful, honorable ladies fell in love with me, and I denied their love and how they died. Now, I'll tell so many lies that you will think